Okay, as I mentioned, I wanted to show you another library, which is called the Numpy library, which is another way of working with small sets of data. It gives us some math functions, and it will allow us to kind of show some interesting graphs more quickly by producing sort of interesting data quickly for us. So to install that library, we're going to go through the process one more time. CD desktop, CD machine learning, source, venv, /bin/activate. Now we're in our virtual environment. We're going to say pip3 install numpy. Now, I think what you're going to find with this when you hit enter is that most of the requirements are already going to be satisfied because packages we had to install before actually required numpy. But I wanted us to go through the process anyway and just make sure numpy is where it needs to be. Once we've done that, we're going to go ahead and run our Jupyter Notebook again. And we're going to jump right back into that file we were just in, the pandas one where everything was set up. Now, remember, we jumped out of this file, so we have to rerun it. If you jumped out, you have to rerun everything, right? So we're going to run all, and we can go down to the bottom then. And here are our sample plots. Right here, we're going to go ahead and import NumPy. And actually, we should import NumPy as NP is common. That'll make our life a little bit easier. Okay, now that we've imported NumPy as MP, we can get some quick data using NumPy, and then we can graph it. So let's go ahead and say we're going to make a new set of X data, and we're going to say MP NumPy dot linspace, and all you want to pass it now is a couple of pieces of information, like, but not linear information. So 0, 20, 400, something along those lines. Okay. Hit enter, and then we're going to do X colon 10. Shift enter, and you can see how X starts. The first 10 pieces of X start. We start with 0, 0.5, 0, or 0.05, 0.1, and goes up from there. And let's actually look at X length X minus length of X minus 10 to the end. And that's where X kind of ends with 19.5 and 20. So now let's go ahead and plot this. So if you remember from last time, we're going to do figure, comma, AX is equal to PLT dot subplot. And we're just going to do AX dot plot. We're not going to go through all of what we did last time. And we're just going to plot X. And we're going to plot X by X to the third power. And let's see what this plot looks like. Whoa. Okay, very interesting. So we basically have all the values 0 to 20. And we then are graphing that against those same values to the third power. And we get this nifty curve here. We can also do, so that's a standard line plot. Let's do AX dot scatter. And I bet you can figure out kind of what this is going to look like, but let's do X. And then let's do X to the second power. Oh, and I should have done that. Let me try np dot exp. Not showing me it now. I wonder if I have to. I shouldn't have to, though. I'm just wondering if I have to reset the plot. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to take this out. Actually, I'm going to take out the whole line. I might have to reset the plot because I kind of already set it up there. Command X. Command V. Let me run that. There we go. Okay. So now we have, and actually let me try it the way I wanted to do it the first time, which is X to the second power. Okay, there we go. And we've got this neat little graph here. You can't really tell it's a scatter graph though, can you? Let's try, let's pass this a fig size equals 10, 10. All right, it's much bigger, but I didn't really space things out quite enough yet. Let's just do, I wonder if we do X and X. Still not spaced out enough. X and X to the more of a curve, but still not enough dots. Okay. Well, let's try instead of doing just X to a power, we can actually, NumPy is power enough that we have trig functions too. So we could pass in the sign of X. Let's see, there we go. Now we're getting some nice dots. And there's the scatter plot. You can kind of see all the dots laid out. And we have some fairly standard trigonometric functions. If you ever find a use for those for your work. There's tan. Really weird. Okay. We can also do bar graphs. So if we come down here, we could, let's make up a data set. Let's say that we want, shirt prices. And that's going to make it, we're going to make a dictionary with that. So we're going to do small, and that's going to be $25. And maybe a medium is going to be $35. And the large is going to be $40. You'll notice I put in a period there. We don't want that. And let's do an XXL for $75. Okay. And now we've got a nice little dictionary of shirt prices. Let's go ahead and let's graph them, right? Fig X equals PLT. You should be getting used to doing this by now. PLT dot subplots. Okay. We don't really need to do anything there. We could set the fig size if we want to, but that's okay. And now we're going to do a bar graph by doing AX bar, and we're going to pass it our pieces of our dictionary. So we're going to pass it shirt prices. And the first thing we want to do is the keys of our shirt prices. And the second thing we want to do, I bet you can guess, are the values of our shirt prices. And let's go ahead and set this up a little bit nicer. We'll do AX set. Title equals shirt prices by size. We'll do an X label. And in this case, the X label is going to be the shirt sizes. Yeah. And the Y label is going to be prices. Okay. And we hit enter. Now, if I had just done, actually, I just want to show you this. If I do a semicolon at the end, it won't list the dictionary at the top. And there we have a nice little bar graph of our various sizes and the prices they come in at. And you can see the title is set up. The X label is set up. You can do the exact same thing, but you can do it horizontally if you want them going across the side. Let's Let me try just doing it that way. What's its issue? Let's see. Unhashable dictionary keys. Let's go ahead and turn this into a list. Which is a Python version of an array. And see what happens. There we go. Okay. Now we have our horizontal bar graph. So you can do lots of different kinds of graphs. You can do histograms. You can do scatter plots, bar graphs. I mean, really, whatever you're going to find useful is going to be beneficial. So here's the challenge for you. Here's what I'd like you to do. Go ahead and take our car data and start making some plots. Plot the odometer versus the price. And by the way, you might have to make price a number instead of allowing price to stay a string, right? So that would be interesting. One of the things we can do to do that. So let's go ahead and look at doing that real quickly right now. If we look at our car sales, there they are. Okay. And I say, okay, what about my car sales? And I want to take my price and I want to remove something from it. I can say, I want that column to equal the same column but this time go ahead and replace. I'm using a function that a string would have, right? I'm going to say replace. And with replace, you're going to pass it what kind of things you want to replace and what you want to replace them with. In this case, we're going to replace the $sign. We're going to replace the comma. We're going to replace the period. Those are all the things we want to replace, and we're going to replace them with nothing. Hit enter. Let's look at car sales again now. And, oop. It's not replacing. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to work. So car sales price equals car sales price, string replace. Let's try, instead of using a whole host of characters, let's just try doing that. Okay. If we do it one at a time, we could probably do it. I thought that's how you did it when you didn't want to do it one at a time. I wonder if we could do it like this, too. If we could pass it in as a list. No, it didn't like that. Okay. So let's... Okay, so here's a good lesson. I've actually edited car sales price in a way that I don't want it edited. And I didn't save it anywhere before I edited it. So it's changed now for good. The data is still out there, but I can't get it back inside of this inside of this notebook. So a good tip is don't do that. All right, hold on. I'm going to actually get rid of get rid of this here. Don't do that unless you're sure. Okay, I'm going to rerun all my cells, and you should always have a backup. All right, so I have car sales back the way I want it. I'm going to go ahead and just do it string by string. So I got rid of the dollar signs. I got rid of the commas. Now I'm going to get rid of the periods. Now you'll notice our prices are all 100 too high. So now we're, well, and that's okay for now, actually. Oh, you know what we could do? Here, we could do this. And we could actually just, because strings kind of work like lists, we can actually just truncate these. So we can say we want to go from the beginning to the end. -2. I think that'll work. Let's give it a shot. No, I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all. Okay. I've made the mistake again. So this time, let's not make that mistake. Let's go ahead and run all of our cells. And let's make a car sales backup so that we have it. So let's go ahead and say car set df. Okay. Now I have df backup saved in the journal. And I don't have to worry about, if I edit it, I can always call this back and undo it. Okay, so we're going to do str.replace. We're going to pass it the $, and we're going to say replace this with an empty space. And then we're going to run car. Oops. Let's just delete that line there. We're going to run car sales. Okay, we've gotten rid of the $. We're going to get rid of the period. And we're going to get rid of the comma. So instead of worrying about, oh, you know what? Here, let's do it this way. When I edited it the last time, I forgot to continue to treat it like a string. So if I continue to treat it like a string, and now I do my, essentially all of but the last two, let's see what that does. There we go. And now we have all of our prices right too. Okay. But our prices are not yet numbers, and we do want to make them numbers. So we need to turn them into numbers. And to do that, we're going to kind of typecast them. So we're going to say car sales. That's cars sales. So let's make sure we save it. Car sales is going to, and we're going to take a car sales price is going to equal car sales price. And actually, before I do this, I like my data frame the way it's set up. So I'm going to say df backup equals car sales. So now I've got that saved. So now that if I make this edit, I don't have to go back and re-edit the strings as I did before. And I'm going to say as type. So as type is essentially our ability to try to cast data as a particular type. If we had left the $sign in there, the comma, the period, it would have just rejected it out of hand because these can't be integer. These can't be in an integer. But we got rid of all that. So what we have left actually can be cast as an int. So let's go ahead and hit enter. Car sales. And that doesn't look any different, but what will look different now, if I say car sales dot dtype, I did it again. Not cars, car, dtype. D types. D types, D types, D types. There we go. You'll notice price is now an int 64. So now we can do math with price. Okay, I've shown you how to turn it into an int, although making some mistakes along the way. Go ahead and graph the odometer versus the price. Try graphing the make versus the price. That would be interesting. You can also use some of our tricks up here where we combine some things. We got to look at... let's see. Here we got to look at the makes. You could turn the makes into a list right there. Here we got to do, we got to sort out just the color. So you could do that. So go ahead, there we did a crosstab. Go ahead and do a graph on the make and the price and the odometer and the price. And I'll see you next time.